right, so let's get this thing going for the first video of the year. So we got this 2016 Camaro, built engine, twin turbos, all the fuel. It is ready to go. So as you probably know, if you're familiar with these cars, one of the biggest issues when you're trying to make big power on these is that with that direct injection system, the fuel system is always the biggest hurdle to get over. So this one, that problem is solved, because if you look under here, they have added port injectors to this setup. So it has an additional 8 injectors. They're ID 1050X injectors, and it has the LT4 fuel pump and LT4 direct injectors. So you should have plenty of fuel. Now, of course, you know the stock ECU cannot control 16 injectors. So what this setup has is a second ECU to control those 8 injectors. We're using the Holley EFI with a harness and everything from Crawford Racing. It's their CR-Fueler kit. And, you know, also tied into that, we're able to use the Holley for boost control. So we don't have to have another boost control. We don't have to have all these boxes stacked on top of each other. So it should be a relatively simple setup, even though it sounds very complicated. Everything should mesh pretty well together to get this thing working. So the flow of this deal will go first. We'll get everything going on the stock ECU, kind of tune up to a low boost level just to get everything lined out with that. And then as we go up in boost, we're going to add the additional fuel from the 8 injectors on top. So we'll probably blend those in a little bit at the lower boost levels, but we can't go super far. This car is on ethanol, so the LT4 injectors and pump, you know, they're not going to handle that much power on ethanol. So it's just going to be enough for us to get a base and then build from that. So here we go. Okay, so as you just saw, got some part throttle tuning done on this thing. Of course, I had a pretty good base on this already from some previous tuning, because I did a little bit of tuning for his break-in so he could drive it safely to put miles on his new engine. So got that pretty clean now. Now I guess we can start trying to make some power. The fun part. All right, so we got our baseline set now. I've got everything, got the fueling straightened out for our direct injection side of things. Played around with timing a little bit. All this was just on spring pressure. The car was making right at about 7 pounds of boost on spring pressure. Good starting point. I do kind of wish I had a little more spring in it, because I think that's going to limit us a little bit on where we can end up power wise today. I might need more than 14 to 15 pounds of boost to get to where I need to be, but we're gonna see where we end up. And if I have to get some more springs, I have to get some more springs, whatever. So but yeah, now we're gonna get into the port injection side of it, dealing with our Holley EFI. All right, so we're slowly making progress on this thing. Just kind of getting the split of direct injection versus port injection kind of, you know, worked out to get our air fuel, you know, where we want it. So it just takes a little bit of time. With this setup, you're dealing with, you're tuning two ECUs basically at the same time. So I'm using onboard logging on the Holley so that I can go back and review it after the run, and then I'm watching my timing and the air fuel ratio, all that stuff on the stock ECU side of things with HP tuners. So it's just it's double the work to tune a set. It's kind of similar to when I do these cars with a methanol injection kit, since it is a whole other supply of fuel. So you are making some tweaks on the stock ECU side in order to accommodate the fuel that's coming in from the port injection. So it's just kind of it's a mixture of the two, and you're trying not to get to a point where you're maxing out your direct injection side of things, because you don't have to. So you can back that off a little bit and then use your port injection to take over the fueling where you really need fuel for more power. Now, of course, they can't do 100% port injection because we don't have big enough injectors for it to do 100%. But if we just let the direct injection just take a little bit of the load and then supplement it with the port injection, it works out. Took a little bit longer than I planned to get the fueling straight with the port injection, but the end result came out pretty good. Still on wastegate spring, and it actually picked up a little bit of power with the port injection versus just the direct injection. I think a little over 600 wheel now, and now we're in a good position to start turning the boost up. But the day has kind of gone away. I had to stop a few times. I had a couple customers come by, and just a couple things I had to deal with. So I'm going to call it for today and pick up on this tomorrow. All right, we're back, and I guess I could say good morning because it's morning now. Got my coffee. I'm ready to go. And we're going to get into this boost control stuff. Got all fuel lined out last night, so we're ready with that. Of course, we'll have to make adjustments as we go up in boost, but we got a great baseline. I just wanted to go over a little bit with this setup, because if you look here, it does have a dual solenoid setup on it. I'm not actually using both solenoids. If you kind of paid attention, you see one of them's plugged off. When the car came in, it was plumbed like it would have been for a CO2 setup or any kind of external regulated air system, even if it was like a compressor tank or something like that. That's when you do the dual solenoids in that configuration. You'll have one as a fill and one as a vent, and it manages it based on dome pressure. So we're not doing that with this setup. It's just going to be a normal 3-port solenoid. So I just kind of reconfigured the lines, plugged off one of the solenoids, set it up in the ECU to just use one solenoid, and we're good to go. If he decides to add that later on, though, everything's already there, and just moving some lines around, and it's ready to go. So just little things you kind of have to pay attention to when cars come in. Sometimes the installer doesn't exactly know how things are intended to work, and it's never a fault on them. That's just how it goes sometimes. And that's my job, is to make sure it's all right when it comes in. So really getting this thing going now. Boost control is working pretty good. You know, I got that lined out at about 7.5 to 8 psi, and we're already making pretty good gains. Just the difference of having boost control and being able to bring the power in a little sooner, which I still can smooth that out a little bit, but it's ramping in a lot faster. So that's a good start. Now we're gonna start bringing that boost up and try to make some more power. 645, that's not enough. We need more than that for sure. So we'll see how far we can go with the springs that are in it. Like I said, I don't think we're gonna make it all the way up to maybe the power goal that I had in mind, because there's just not enough spring in it. The customer wasn't sure when he brought it in which springs were in there. I was hoping they were 10s, but like I said, they're really about like 6.5, 7-pound springs. So, but we're gonna work with what we got, make the most power, make it drive great. That's really all that matters. Getting our Holley log read out of there. That's one thing about this process, is it's very time consuming, because we've got to go over the ECU log from the Holley, as well as the log that I'm getting through VCM scanner for HP tuners. So because all of my timing and all that stuff, torque limits and all that's going to be on the HP tuner side of things, and that's got to be all in line. If you don't have proper torque readings and stuff like that, your trans isn't going to shift, and you're going to have throttle closures, and you're going to have timing being added when you're not asking for it, or taken away, or all kinds of things. So you know, people, I'm sure if you're familiar with these, the Gen 5 stuff is, you know, a little more difficult, and then you throw on a secondary fuel system, and that just, you know, changes the whole thing. So 2 more pounds of boost, and we picked up some more power. So we're at 705 now, just off another 2 pounds of boost. So I think I'm hoping we'll get to 800. I was wanting to be somewhere between 900 and 1,000, but I just don't think we're gonna have enough spring. And this car, the turbos are low mounted. They are under there, you can't really even see them, but turbos, the wastegates, all that stuff is underneath it. And I don't have any springs here. If I had springs here, I'd probably do it, but I don't have any springs. So we'll just have to have a part 2 of this one where we crack that 1,000 horsepower barrier. All right, so we are slowly moving up. That was a little bit more boost on that one. I made a little bigger jump than what I made earlier. Ended up, we were 791, 731 there. So we're getting up into some good numbers now. I let out a little early because I saw my timing was a little higher than what I wanted. Like I said, with the stock ECU controlling the timing, I've got to watch that, and the way it controls timing, it's not just directly, you know, map based. It's you know, reading a different scale. So I ended up in some lower sales than what I thought, as load was kind of falling off up top, which probably, I bet we're probably gonna be finding the upper limits of our turbine side, and it's probably why the load's starting to fall off a little bit as I go up and boost. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I think this kit is really kind of spec'd out for a stock engine, and this one's a 416. It's, you know, it's built a little bit bigger, but you know, we're gonna see. We'll play with it and see where we end up. which I brought in the boost target a little bit earlier, and we're over 800 now, so that's good. You know, we can't have a setup like this and make less than 800 horsepower. So I think I'm still gonna have a decent amount of boost duty left, so yeah, I'm hoping I can roll some more into this thing and get closer to where I really want to be with it. So I had to deal with a couple of little things, some throttle closure a little bit, and some things like that to clean that up before I could really bring in more boost. So all that stuff is working well now. All our torque readings are right and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna keep on slowly stepping up. All right, so I guess we can call this one done as far as on the dyno. Still probably have to have a little bit of transmission tuning and stuff, you know, on the street, but as far as the dyno goes, we're done. We ended up at 901 wheel horsepower. Perfect number for around here. If you don't know, I'm from Memphis, area code 901. So pretty cool that it ended up there. There's probably, I mean, there's more power in it for sure, but this is where the customer kind of wanted to stop, just to have some time to think about doing a built trans later on and just really not have to worry about anything. Yeah, there's cars with the 8-speed automatic that make more than that for sure, but he just wants to be very cautious and, you know, keep this thing alive. So but just to recap, it's the 2016 Camaro, 416 cubic inch, twin low mount turbos. It's a Huron Speed kit, and it's got the Crawford Racing CR-Fueler auxiliary fuel system with an additional 8 injectors for port injection, and that's controlled by a Holley ECU. So yeah, this was not an easy tune at all. It wasn't that it was like super hard or anything, but it's definitely not something that a beginner would want to do. You know, me having knowledge of both of the systems and being able to bounce between them easily definitely helped a lot. It took a lot of time, but it wasn't like the hardest tune I've ever done or anything like that. So but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. You know, if you have any questions about this kind of setup or anything like that, feel free to comment. And as always, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more frequent with the videos. Sometimes it gets so busy in the shop, it's hard to take the time to film stuff. So try to do a little bit better. Of course, I still got the completion of my project coming up soon. Getting close to the end of it. I had to kind of back off of it for a little while, and because just work was busy, but should have an update on that one soon as well. Thanks for watching.